Cool. Hey guys, guess we're now ready to start streaming. Just going to let everyone know that we are live on Twitter. Let me know how the volume is. 1 second. Cool. So I think, okay, good. You can hear me. Hello, everyone. Man, it's like super hot in Chicago today. I couldn't get anything done. So I think my AC is broken too. But yeah, I've got these like windows that face west, and it's like an oven in here in the afternoon. But cool, chat is not broken. Alright, actually, so before we start, I wanted to show you guys some of the stuff I've been making with the orthographic projections. So this is, if you guys remember, this is kind of a lot of the stuff I was making last night. And what it, I think, is going on, so it's basically when I take my edge detection shader and apply it to an orthographic camera. And I'm not too sure what the problem is, like where in the shader script it's causing this, but it sort of draws like these reflections basically, and it also seems to be drawing every pass slightly differently. So you can see here we've got the depth pass. So the depth pass is this black and white image with a gradient. So you see that being drawn here. We see the green and white, which is the pass without any kind of the original color pass, without the edges, and then somewhere hidden here. So here, yeah, this is a better example. You can't really see the edge detection pass in here. Here you can see the edge detection pass. Reflected below is the depth pass. Yeah, so I honestly, yeah, here we kind of, by playing around with the high clip distance and the low clip distance, you can kind of get these really cool effects. No idea what's happening, but I thought it looked really cool, so I took a bunch of pictures, and I think this is actually something I'd like to put out as like a poster or something. I don't know, I'm just kind of making cool stuff right now, and then seeing, you know, trying to decide what I'm going to do with it later. I do love that you can get this level of detail. You can see the windows from here, which is really, really nice. And just this, like, this gradient is really lovely. Right here, too. Yeah, and you can kind of see also, because my edge detection shader, what it does is the lines that are farther away are actually drawn in a lighter color than the lines that are, the edges that are closer to you, and that creates a sense of depth visually. I don't know if I can. I think this is a good example, right? You can see that this line here in the distance is much lighter than the lines here. So without that, you wouldn't really get a feeling of depth, and that's really important. So there's both the edge detection shader doing that, and there's also the fog in the scene. So you can see that in some of these you have the lighter lines being drawn here, and then the darker lines being drawn here. And I'm not really sure what's going on. I think it just has to do with the way orthographic projection handles depth. Oh man, I think Main Jai has fallen asleep. So am I using Unity's built-in fog? Yes. Yes, I'm using Unity's built-in fog, which is the fog is what affects the colors. So you can see that it's a combination of the fog and my edge detection shader. The fog is what makes the colors get lighter, and then I have to my shader handles the edges getting lighter. There's some problems like when you are I don't know if you can see them in here, but when you are looking through window, it does have some problems with transparencies where the edges would be drawn on top of the transparent object. So you can kind of see also with the leaves, behind the leaves you don't see the edges, and that's actually something that I want. It lets you know that the leaf is in front of the tree, but there are a few instances where it's causing problems, and it's not that I haven't. Yeah, I mean I haven't gotten around to fixing it yet, but it's because it's sort of lower on the list of priorities. It's not really game breaking. Yeah, I really love this here. This is also really nice, being able to see these windows, the details. Right, so anyway, I started rewriting the edge detection shader from scratch, kind of looking at basing it off of Unity's default edge detection shader. And it works with orthographic projection, but the default is the lines are actually way too thick here, and it doesn't... I didn't really like the way this looked. I kind of want to create a whole series of posters resembling architectural drawings. So this is what it looks like with sort of very default settings. You can also see that it's missing a ton of edges. These ones here, you can't really see the detail, the level of detail in the glass in the windows, as well as the base of the pillar. And I'll show you another. So actually, I decided to also play with this, which I thought looked really cool. This is using the glitchy effect from the previous shader, but again, I thought it looked kind of cool, kind of like a Rorschach test. So yeah, here is with a modified shader where I'm starting to tweak out. So you can see it's getting more of the edges. This one you're not seeing the details just because you're zoomed a lot farther, but also the lines are a lot thinner, and that makes it look a lot cleaner. Here's what it looks like with just a ton of all of the instances being drawn. I just made a whole series of these. I just thought these looked really fantastic. It reminds me of this so Atelier Olchinski, I think they are a studio. I'm not sure where they are based. In Vienna. Pierre Olchinski and Verena Weiss. But they do illustration, graphic design, and I really love their work. And I kind of wanted to create this similar feeling, and I think I'm like I'm getting there. You know, this is very much. I feel what's really cool is I don't know how they make it. I'm guessing it's not totally hand drawn, but a combination of procedural. It'd be, it would actually be really cool to just email them. I mean, this is definitely with like some. I mean, these are definitely CGI. But yeah, lovely work. I love their stuff, and I kind of wanted to create something very similar. Of course, I'm much more restricted by the style of the game, because these are actually using all the actual geometry that's playable, and it has to fit in with, everything in the game. So yeah, I just made a whole bunch of these. Really, really loving this one. Now the problem here is you can actually see that I forgot to apply the anti-aliasing effect after the edge detection shader, so the edges are not, they're not anti-aliased, as you can see, which is sort of a missed opportunity, because it does look a lot nicer with anti-aliasing. Yeah, this just looks really old school. But again, I was just kind of playing with this. Here, I also don't know what happened. I was starting to add background color, and again, you can see that somehow, remember I said edges that are farther away end up being lighter than the edges that are closer to you. Somehow in an orthographic projection, those get inverted, so somehow these edges that are a lot closer end up being a lot lighter. But I do think, like, here it looked fine. Oh, right, so here I started doing anti-aliasing, and I think that's That already looks a lot better. Like, I think there can be greater contrast. I think there can be some sharpening involved. It looks a little bit blurry. I can't tell if it's just me because I've been staring at it all day. But yeah, I love this. I'm thinking of making a bunch of posters based on this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of be generating a whole bunch of these in the next 2 weeks, and then I'm going to maybe like put out a whole bunch on the devlog or make a poll and then have people vote on which ones are their favorites, and then we would select a few and then actually make physical prints based on these that people can buy online or something. Yeah. So this one, there's also some, like you can see the Pro Builder colliders they're being drawn here. There's some bugs, but again, imagine without these without this glitchy stuff in the upper right corner and just having, and also without the artifacts here. Imagine getting rid of that and just having this. Also not the shadows. The shadows look really weird, but just having this like clean background would be awesome. Hello, Andy James Adams. Just kind of talking about this recent experimentation with orthographic projection and making visuals based on this. Oh, right, and this is like where I think would be a really cool place to have for a more cleaner poster style. You know, having like I can see like 5 in this series, each one with this level on the left, an isolated instance of the level, and then maybe the subtitle of the level. I think this one would be like the tower, and then the title. Are there going to be places in game where we can see views like this, or is this bird eye? These are orthographic projections, so not really bird eye views. They're not going to be in gameplay. The problem with this is that they basically necessitate having to be you can have first person with this, right? Because with orthographic projection, there is no depth. Like, things that are far away look to be the same size as things that are close to you. So there are a few ways I can put this in the game. I mean, one is just in the menu, I have like gallery, and you can go in there. That's not very exciting. Suppose I could do a room in the game, a hidden Easter egg, you know, as an Easter egg, a hidden room with a bunch of these prints in like a gallery. That might be kind of cool. One place where this view would make sense that's interactive is having a level editor. I cannot promise that right now though, because it is like, that is massive. Antechamber did have that. Yeah, and also Stanley Parable. You know what? I would link to this right now, but there's Andy James Adams. I'm going to clean up so you can see there's a lot of artifacts here, and we're going to clean it up with the game logo and everything, and also have a whole bunch of colors. So there will be wallpapers available. I'm not going to do this one though, because there's still a lot of problems. Like, that needs to get cleaned up. You see artifacts here. These ones need to be gotten rid of here. Also, this level isn't finished right now, but soon. Yeah, this one's a lot more interesting because there's actually more variation in the silhouette. Like, this one's all very, you know, it looks too lined up. But yeah. Oh yeah, it's also not that big. I need to there's like a screenshot function in Unity and you can supersize it. So I think, you know, I'll make like a whole bunch of like, you know, 4,000 by whatever giant sizes. So let's go back. So anyway, that's that. But I'm also going to ask you guys to vote on a whole bunch of these once I've got them ready and, you know, like kind of nailing down the style. Yeah, so I do like, because I really like that gallery room, and I think I'd love to do something like that as well. Cool. So now I think Chris told me he did some work on the interlockables, but I'm not super sure where they are. I'm gonna go inside and play around a little more with this level. There's like a lot of cleaning up to do, so that's kind of what I'm doing. This is for those of you that are new, this is the sandbox level. Yeah, no, everyone, actually the 2001 Space Odyssey thing is, you're talking about this one? I think you're talking about this view. Yeah, I actually have like, I'm thinking once I have the music and the game finalized, I want to make like a 1 hour long video that's just traveling through this world slowly. It's just panning through this world slowly with some like really chill music playing. Yeah, this one looks a lot. I would go to that scene right now, except it's broken. But yeah, that in motion is really, really cool. And if any of you are new, welcome, and make sure to follow if you enjoy the stream. Okay, all right. Let's go ahead and start cleaning this up. So you can see this is the cube and tree test area, and inside there's the yellow island, which has all the different colors. Oh, so I think Chris has done a lot of work with the errors, the editor errors. So now we only have you know what? Let me open up notes for Chris 2015-07-30 wall color change .cs add relativity utils check for set current color. So I think there's this bug that we were having about a week ago. The problem was that it was calling, there's an object in the game called Relativity utils, which is this one object that contains the color for every object in the scene. So that means that if I want to change the color of blue boxes, I can just go to Relativity utils and change the one value there and have that apply to everything, instead of having to change the color on every different object, or even just the material itself. It's just sort of this like single place to tweak all the colors, and it was causing the scene to crash whenever we opened it, because they were calling relativity utils before that object had been instantiated, and I think what's going on, anyway, I'm getting this error message, but I'm going to have Chris look into it. I think there's supposed to be like a check here to make sure relativity utils exists first before applying this color. So anyway, or rather it just thinks or that might be from another scene actually, so all right. So, and then anyway, I've got the interlockables area with a whole bunch of different stuff. Now, Chris told me he added some new interlockables, but I am not really sure. All right, let's see here. Let's go ahead and import this new asset. Interlockable base. Yeah, so basically with the new design, we actually need to model everything and create it and UV map all the different pieces. It's not working out. I'm actually gonna just ask Chris to import a whole bunch of them into the scene tomorrow. So, notes for Chris. Import interlockables into game feel redux scene. Right, and basically what I'm doing with interlockables is I've made them into different islands. So this one is kind of just a generic island. There's really nothing going on. This one has a puzzle. Okay, see, this piece should be inside environment, inside interlockables. I'm trying to like clean up everything in the hierarchy so it's not just a mess to navigate. Right, so see, this one has kind of one puzzle where an interlockable is being used in two different ways. I'm setting up all these like really complex setups to test for weird edge case bugs. So we're going to name this one Interlockable Island 3. And the way I have everything organized is I've got... okay, so these should actually be inside environment. So now the weird thing with creating empty objects in Unity is that when you create them, they don't automatically get aligned to the grid, to progrids, which can be a bit annoying, because then that means if you start making a bunch of things, if you're not careful, you don't realize it until much later when you're trying to line things up and they're like just missing each other by a bit, and then you realize, okay, it's not that. Then you kind of have to kind of go up the hierarchy layers to check and see which is the object that's not aligned properly. And it's not such a big deal now when you don't have that many things, but when you have like this world and then section A and then room B and then inside room there's another tunnel, that can get really tedious. Alright, we're going to create 2 empty game objects. The first one is going to be environment. And that I'm going to put all the non-moving parts inside. And the other object is going to be... Now actually I should have... Right, no, there's actually going to be 3 empty objects. There's going to be the interlockables themselves in a section, in a group, and then there's going to be the signal bases, which are these things that the interlockables connect to, kind of where the lines start, where the lines end. Oh, is this showing that it's connected? Right. I gotta talk to Chris. So also the other thing we've been having trouble with is once you have so many lines, it's actually really difficult to see which object is connected to which. And I believe what Chris has done is he's made it so that the end of this line... Wait a minute, like why is this... I think the green sphere is showing me that this line is connected. Like, I need to be able to see at a glance which lines, where is the object that the line is turning on, because you can run into this problem where this door, you accidentally have two lines operating this door. And every line can turn on multiple objects. They don't just turn on one door. And that's more because we might be doing that later. So you end up having this problem where sometimes this door isn't opening, and that's because there is some other line in this scene that's controlling the door and making it close. And that gets really hard, and the only way to sort of figure that out is to like click on every line manager and then check where the door is that it is controlling. And I think Chris added something where you can have the line where there's going to be, where it draws a line from the line, it draws a line in the editor from the actual line to the door so that I can see. I think this green one is his solution. I'm not 100% sure. I'll have to talk to him about it. I didn't get a chance to go over the code very closely today, so I'll talk to him about it tomorrow. Okay, where were we before? So, right, and then now we're going to add our signal bases. Oh, so by having them be by sort of dividing things into these different sections, what's really great is then I can put all the walls. So like, you know, all of these objects, they go inside the environment for Island 3. And if I need to see what's happening, I can just disable it and then go inside and take a look. Alright, so these are also going. Alright, let's move the interlockables into here. And then, of course, if I need to move this whole area, you know, I can just... Right now, I don't want to do that because I don't have the interlockables added in. The signal bases. One thing I really don't like about the hierarchy for the signal bases is that the line manager is actually a child of the signal base. So that means if I hit apply, it's going to incorporate the line manager into the prefab of the signal base and apply to everything else, which is not what I want. But unfortunately, Unity doesn't have nested prefabs yet. I know it's like it's got to be their most commonly requested feature. But without embedding the line as a child of this, I can't, you know, the advantage is that I can move this thing around together and have the line move with the signal base. And also the nice thing with prefabs is when you click on them, you can like select the, when you click on it, you actually select the parent and not the child. Like notice it wasn't all of signal bases that was selected, it was just the prefab itself. So anyway, okay, we have 3 interlockable islands done. Let's disable them for a second. Oh, right, this also needs to get, I think that was gonna be inside interlockable 3. Right, it's sort of like housekeeping today. Just trying to organize the scene. But once this is down, we're also starting to work on water. So Chris has been working on water mechanics. We're going to start putting that in here as well. There's going to be another island. And then I think it's going to be, so that should probably be done by middle of next week. And then we'll start playing around with that, making some GIFs. And I think probably for much of August, it's going to be playing around in this sandbox level, trying to break everything and making sure all the systems together. There's also going to be portals. So, like, the water needs to go through the portal, boxes need to go through portal. You can grow trees, destroy trees. Actually, I don't know about destroy trees yet, but anyway, you can do stuff with the trees as well. That all needs to get sorted. And then I think once that is done, I'm going to be able to get back into doing more actual puzzle design. Knowing that things aren't going to be breaking on me all the time. Chat is very quiet today. That is okay. Alright, interlockable island 4. Alright. So, weird. It's not letting me create an empty game object inside as a child. Oh no, there we go. I'm thinking now of working at night and sleeping during the day just because it's so hot here in Chicago. It's like I'm finding it much easier to focus. Problem is I don't want to do that because then it's like very easily go off the deep end. Because then your schedule is just totally different from everybody else's, and you're not talking to anyone or seeing anyone in person, and your meal schedule is all screwed up. Alright, interlockable island 4. Alright, so actually let me show you this. Actually, first let me put everything, let me put the objects inside. Let's put them in the environment. And you know what, I'm also going to enable the desktop volume. I'm just listening to the Monument Valley soundtrack, which is like super chill. Let me know if it's too loud. Alright, so that's environment. I'm going to show you guys what I'm doing here that I think is really cool and goes to show how all systems work together. I know I keep talking about that, but that's sort of a really important gameplay thing. Oh, a little too loud? Okay. I've lowered it to 5%. Let me know if this is better. Right. Okay, cool. Thanks for the feedback. Alright, signal bases. So you know what, I'm going to go ahead and make this. This is a rotation pillar. The idea is that it's just there in the scene so I have something to rotate to switch gravity onto. So I don't have to like walk all the way across the room to change gravity. But I'm going to go ahead and make it a prefab. It was really annoying because you would click on it and it would click on the child object and not the whole thing. So Let's just go ahead and make it a rotation pillar. Alright, there we go. So yeah, that's a really nice thing with prefabs, is like if you click on it, the entire prefab is selected. And then what I will do is duplicate this in a few places. We're going to move these two into the environment object of interlockable island. Signal start base. Oh, this one, we forgot to move it here. And then we can go ahead and delete this entire piece. We'll then move all 4 of the interlockable islands. Okay, see, yeah, that's... You gotta make sure that that's all lined up. And I prefer to have it on the whole numbers. Oops. Okay, there we go. You know what, let's call this interlockable test area. Just to have it match with this. Alright, so those are... There I've got my cube. I think I have these cubes that I was using them once for something, and now I'm not. I've like moved a bunch of stuff around, so okay. But I do want to show you guys the puzzle that's here inside this interlockable island 4. Let me just double check that it's working. Alright, that should be fine. All right. Okay, let me see. So the idea with this puzzle is you would want actually, you know what, it is not... I realized I forgot the, you actually need a purple box in order to... I need a purple box in order to demonstrate that. So let's get ourselves a cube. Purple cube. We'll go ahead and bring it into the interlockable test area, into island 4. Damn it. Oh. Okay, my bad. It should be a blue cube. So we can just, we'll do it this way, we'll use this one. Oh, so now we've also made it so that the lines actually have to be the correct color. I might have to test that just to make sure that that is, in fact, working. Oh, okay. It's... Actually, this might be broken. color select is not working. So for some reason, when we change the line to... Huh. It seemed like it was not working before, but anyway, okay, so that's blue. This is also, this needs to be... See, it's not working at first. I don't know why it doesn't work. Working properly. Have to change to other color first. And then blue. Right, so of course I need to change this one. This can't be purple. Ah, okay. Chris just put some of the interlockables in the scene, so we will take a look at those. Actually, you know what? Let's finish up here, and then I'm gonna pull the new build from Chris. Where did my... Okay, there it is. Let's move it down into signal line base. Oh, right. I think I also need to make sure that this line, this cube has a line manager attached to it. So that's that one. We are going to go ahead and duplicate. We're going to go ahead and duplicate this cube square activator and bring it over to the other signal base. Alright, so that's signal base 8. See, line manager 1 should be attached to that. So yeah, you see it can be kind of hard because in this one it's also line manager 1. So if I had brought it over, if I copied this one, I moved it over. If I had forgotten to line up the line manager correctly, it would actually be controlling this line manager and not the new one. They're both line manager 1, so I think there needs to be something that like lets me know that this cube square activator is connected to this line. You're still having the problem, like when I set this to down blue, it doesn't affect it. So somehow I have to change it to another color and then change it back to down blue. Now I think this should also be blue. Just for this test, I'm gonna first make this yellow because previously it was the lines were lighting up regardless of which colors they are in, and they can only line up if it's the same color. So I'm gonna just test and make sure that that is not in fact working. Oh man, I guess the Monument Valley soundtrack just ends at some random point. That sucks. Alright, so where are we? Okay, no, it's on the other side. So see, this is where like having to travel this long distance, this is where that rotation pillar is super helpful. It is a quiet day here. I think it's because main GI is not here. That looks like it is lighting up to me. That looks lit. Or maybe it's just the sun? Okay, it's not lit. That does mean I probably want to change the color of the yellow line when it's not lit up. I mean, the door is not opening, so it's clearly not working, but I do think the line needs to get made slightly darker. Because I think basically what was happening was with the sunlight, it looked like, yeah, so this is Relativity Utils, which lets me control the wall colors, the cube colors. I can change the color of the buttons, the line colors, their line emission colors, the leaf colors. So it's kind of nice to be able to do everything here together. But yeah, like this looks like it needs to be way darker. Or certainly another possibility is adding some kind of movement to the... I wonder if I should do like a scrolling pattern. You know, I'm thinking with the edges, I think it might look a little too scientific. Because that just looks lit to me, and I feel like it is not working. But anyway, let's go back and make it. Let's go back and make this line blue. See, I don't understand why that first time setting it to blue doesn't work. So I'm gonna have to ask Chris to look at that. Nope, I don't want to open Unity 5.1. Maybe I should check my color space? I'm not totally sure what you mean by color space here. Ugh. You know what? I'm gonna add the rotation pillar now. Otherwise, I'm gonna keep forgetting and it's gonna keep frustrating me. So let's just take one of these, copy it, and bring it down here. So I don't have to keep. So I can just like rotate and fall down. This is also why you don't want a lot of flat surfaces in this game, because you want a lot of places where the player can change gravity. So... Alright, here we go. So by the way, tomorrow we will have Ian Sundstrom on the game critique talking about stacks on stacks on stacks. Alright, so now we can just jump down and rotate here. And now the door should open up. Right, so it is working. Alright, so the cool thing about this puzzle is you actually need... You only have one... Oh, God. Forgot to make that one. That one should be blue, not purple. So you need this yellow bridge. But you only have one of them. And so depending on which door you want to open, you would actually have to choose. So, like, if I want to open the door on this side, what I actually want to do is land this way. And then... What the? That was some weird bug. Okay, I think I'm not oriented the right way. Or that felt really weird. Yeah, okay, I think I got screwed up somehow. Yep. Yeah, there is some bug and I'm not like oriented right side up right now. But anyway, the idea is you would have to move, you'd have to use right. Okay, that's a bug with my player controller, but I want this to come to the other side. And it's blocked this way, but you remember that the wheel wraps around, so if you have it fall out this way, it'll actually come back and then you can open the other door in the back. Let's go ahead and make this one. What? It says it's down blue right now, but it's, okay. Having lots of problems with this. Oh, notes for Chris. So down blue, line manager, down blue, sometimes the line shows up as purple. Well, no, the puzzle would be that you'd have to use it you have to use the same block to open two doors, so you can't have them both open at the same time. Hey, Ed Riofer, how's it going? Good morning, I think, for you. So, anyway, that is Interlockable Island 4. So let's go ahead and just enable all of them now. We're just doing housekeeping, cleaning up this level, making sure everything is there. I actually do also want to go ahead and make... You know what I want to do is I want to bring the color changing beams inside the cube tree test area. Actually, you know what I want to do? I have an idea. What I want to do is I want to, you know what? We are going to go ahead and only select these ones. We're going to delete all of them that is not. We are going to make another game object. And then place all the beams inside that one. Oh, my widget? Yeah, it does. You're talking about this thing in the bottom right corner? Yeah. It has this weird thing where it gets clipped when you zoom out too far. We're actually just going to have all of the beams on all of the levels. On all the beam colors on all the islands. Yeah, we couldn't figure out what the problem was. It's annoying because this thing is obviously not getting clipped. So there is a way to do it. We can figure it out. It wasn't super important. Most of the time I'm not that far zoomed out anyway. Yeah, okay. So we're going to go ahead and delete this beam object. And then I'm just going to copy... Oh man, sorry to hear that the stream keeps freezing, Eddie. I gotta get that coveted Twitch partnership so that people can adjust quality settings on the stream. Alright, so these are the beams. So I'm thinking what I'd like to do is just have them... If we just have them here, I can run a whole bunch of tests. The E in relativity is backwards in my logo. That is not a bug. It is actually a feature. Yeah, that's actually one of the things I'm thinking about whether I should keep when I'm announcing a new name for the game soon. It's not Relativity anymore. And I don't know whether I want to keep the backwards E. It's sort of like, I feel like it's kind of cool to reference this old, the old logo in some ways, but it's also like a really cliche thing to do to invert letters. Like Toys R Us does it, and Toys R Us is not cool. So, alright, so blue, red, that's got the beam. What's the reason for waiting on the name change? It's that I want to make sure to have some new stuff to show for the name change. Otherwise, cause you know, it's like I want to make the announcement on the PlayStation blog, and you want journalists to write about it, and just having the name change alone isn't really yeah, just having the name change alone isn't enough to... isn't like worthy enough for news. So you want to have some new stuff to show. You want to, you know, I got to get the new website to look right at launch. So there's all this other stuff. Like, believe me, I would just want to announce it now, but you don't want it to come out and not have anyone care. So you just want to have a whole bunch of stuff to announce at the same time. So that's really the only reason for the name change. Yeah, I guess it's really more of a PR thing, and I want to get the water stuff down. I actually didn't mean to. I wasn't going to even talk about the water stuff here on, you know, until we did the name change. But then I have talked to Alex Bruce. He did the same thing. He did it for slightly different reasons. He did it because Hazard, the Journey of Life, was just not a very... It wasn't very reflective of it. But yes, he did do it too, and I've like read about some of his kind of the thinking behind that. It was funny because like if you go to look at Antichamber's Facebook page, the very first post he did, because I guess he started a new Facebook page when he changed the name, and the very first page, so the very first post is like, hey, new page, new name, and like one of the comments is like, oh man, I liked Hazard a lot better. So it's like I'm also expecting that, like when I announce a new name change, everyone is going to, so I bet, you know, people are going to be like, oh, I like Relativity better. And it's funny because in hindsight, Antichamber is just a way better name than Hazard Journey of Life. Do I like the new name as well as Relativity? I actually like it a lot better, and there's a lot of reasons. It's a lot more poetic. It's actually the reason, the more of the push to make the new name change was actually Starseed Pilgrim. That was actually a big inspiration, because that game used to be called platform planter. Which is an awful name. I mean, that is a game, and but that's describing the mechanic, which in a lot of ways, Relativity. I mean, I could have called it like Gravity Wall Walker, but I think Relativity is very much along the lines of the kind of describing the mechanic. But to go from Platform Planter to Starseed Pilgrim, I think is just such. It's just such a wonderful. It is so much better. It's a way better name, even though the game is really the same. Did I like Journey of 1,000 Cubes? That's too long. You can't hashtag it, right? You'd have to do like JOATC, and then no one knows what you're talking about. Well, I like Journey. Yes, it is. It's a little too linear. I do think it was really great, and I enjoyed it. It's just, but it is very linear, you know. Like it's this pilgrimage, and you feel like you're going on this spiritual journey for enlightenment. Yeah, and I think Starseed Pilgrim isn't just like that. It's easy to find, but I think it's such a poetic name, too, and it's very evocative. But yeah, what was I just talking about? Journey. Yeah, I don't feel like I earned it. Right, it is very much on rails, and I think it has to be, but like everyone goes through that experience, which is really nice. Whereas Starseed Pilgrim, on the other hand, actually feels like, and probably is, a pilgrimage, right? It's like you really have to work on it to beat it, and so it's definitely not accessible, and I don't think, and like a very, very small fraction of people have completed Starseed Pilgrim. Whereas I wouldn't be surprised if Journey's completion rate is like above 50%. Part of it too is also with Journey, a lot of your experience depended on the other player. Like, you know, I had like one person, like I had this one companion early on that's really fun, and where you do like 2 signals and they would respond with 2 signals, and you waited for each other, and we journeyed for like quite a while together. I was really sad when that partner disappeared, and then I got hooked up with someone in the middle, kind of in the blue underwater area, and he was just like not interested in hanging out together. Like he just didn't respond to my signals and just kind of charged ahead and didn't wait for me, and that was, I was like, oh man, well I don't really want to play with you, I'll just let you go on ahead, because that first time I remember that like my partner kept falling off that gap when we were still out in the sand, and I actually jumped down it to like help him get up again. But then I had another partner that was kind of fun, and we made it through like the snow with the things attacking that area, which was really great. Oh man, I can get white robes? I did see someone had like a much longer scarf, and I'm assuming you get that when you've been playing for a long time. I guess that's just like doing a number of journeys. I do plan on going. I want to replay it again, and this time actually try to break it. I was actually having a conversation with Austin Wintory, because I posted something on Twitter about the music in Journey. Because I was like, oh man, I want to do a climax, and we started talking to Draken, who made Starseed Pilgrim, about. And Draken said it's actually not possible to have a non-linear climax, because the climax is like something it's a linear thing. So either you switch from being a non-linear game to linear for the sake of having that climax, or you have a non-linear space with lots of climaxes that players can discover. And I guess Austin, I don't know, somehow he saw the conversation and started talking. And one of the things he said was that the music is actually very non-linear. Infinite Dimensions is actually not a good game, and that is actually one I thought of because there is a ton of Japanese games with the word infinite and dimensions in it. Like you'll see, they're just like infinite dimensionario. There's like they use the word infinite in such a ridiculous way. Actually, I just realized this is not such a great way to have set up the beams because I can't really do anything with this. Yeah, right, the climax is the realization of the nature of the world, which is really hard to do. Right, because what you want is that, like, that moment, you kind of have to do like a twist in the movie where all of a sudden you're like, oh my god, I was in the world, this world is inside the computer all the time. And I don't know how I can do it in this game where it's like, how do I make sure that Seedfall is not bad? How do I make sure that it happens to the player at this one time? Like, how do I have the music highlighted and all that? So yeah, let's go ahead and try to play around with some of the you know what, actually what would be a good thing right now is let's go ahead and just make an arrow for, let's go ahead and make an arrow. And this is temp art, but basically I want no, I don't. Why stop opening CyberDuck? I was going to make an arrow, but then I thought, you know what, it'd be a lot easier just to get one off the internet. Based on the nature of the game. Oh, shit. Alright, we're just going to use this. What I want to do is rotate this first. So, basically what I want to do right now is I want to set up arrows on the base of the color changing beam so I can see which direction they're pointing at. And the one thing I want to do is not... Alright, I want to copy this, paste it, select this, and color it white. No, wait, first select this, delete it, select this, and we will color it I kind of want to ask David what word you search for, but I think there are people here who haven't played Her Story yet, and that would pretty much ruin it for them, I think. All right, this is good enough. Ah. All right, let's merge layers. Right, so this is we're gonna use this as the arrow. For force. Beam texture. Parabola. You will never spoil the story for Parabola Shift ever. Is that because it's very narrative driven? Ah, I see. Yeah, it is hard. I know, like, Draken is super... Ah! Photoshop. Alright, I don't... Not sure why that's... I'm just gonna leave that there. That floating thing. Yeah, I know Draken is, like, super intense about not spoiling stuff for Starseed Pilgrim. And that's very much what the game is. But sometimes, you know, it is... I don't know, I guess I've kept development of this game pretty open. But for me, this process has been super helpful. Like, all the benefits I've gotten with keeping an open development process has outweighed all of the cons. So yeah, like, I've spoiled the game a bit, but I don't think that's too much of a problem. Jet user, you know, you can also just you can open up the game folder and just watch all of the videos, which is what I did. Right, okay, so let's make a base for the arrows. Wow, why are you super slow? So we actually need a new material with, go ahead and create a new material. We'll call it beam arrow. Let's see, it needs a texture. And let's color it blue for now. Yeah, actually, I'm gonna rename this to beam arrow. Beam arrows. Beam arrow blue. This is kind of how I do like this. The first test for all the visuals is at first let's just make it work. Material, we can apply beam arrow blue. I'm actually not a huge fan of the way it looks right now. Yeah. Okay, that works. So you know what? We'll just leave this here. This is we'll call this beam base. That is obviously going to get redesigned. Alright, see ya, Edward Yofer. Yeah, you want to give people a putting the pieces together feeling, yes, exploring sadness of another. The game has a large part to do with my experience during depression. Having such an atmosphere that is slightly depressing, but one you want to explore. Right. Yeah, I can see that. I mean, that sounds like a very narrative-driven game, so you'd want to... Right, not spoiling it, I think, is important. Although this does mean that you can't have blue on the... Well, I'm just realizing, well, what am I gonna do with blue material? Well, with the beam on blue then, which, well, I guess we just need to make the arrow point down. Color change beam, arrow, blue. And then I'm actually going to go ahead and make this a prefab. Well, it looks like that screwed up my material. So yeah, sometimes ProBuilder can be a little frustrating with the UV stuff. I generally don't use it. But this is so that I can see which direction it's pointing. So I'm actually gonna talk to Chris and have him implement some system that automatically shows the arrows. Like, yeah, we should do some system where the arrows automatically point to whatever direction its gravity is in. Numbness is a feeling I'm familiar with, but I don't know how I would incorporate it. Whew, yeah, it's tough. It's a very hard. That's a very difficult topic. The game I'm thinking of is Actual Sunlight. Have you played that game? It's by Will O'Neill. I think he's in Toronto, but I think that is a game that's tackled depression quite well. It is like it's got like a JRPG style, so I don't know if that can show you very much in terms of yeah, I'm gonna have to talk to Chris, because I think it's gonna be too tedious having to make it for each one. But let me just take a second and try this out, because I think that is really helpful to have the arrows on the beams. But Black River, you are the your game is it's a puzzle game, right? Based on that theme, or is it more? Is there another mechanic? Twitch does have Whisper. Yeah, right. Right, yes. white. Alright, this is, which way is orange? So that way is orange. Alright, so this is, okay, yeah, so it definitely is helpful, right? Because it lets me know, like, that is the direction that is going to be blue. Let's go make sure that this actually opens a door. Okay, it is working. Man, the frame rate isn't great. I think there's just too much going on. Yeah, 30 frames per second. It's not good. Definitely a lot of, well, I mean, there is also a lot of stuff, but I think it should be better. I would really like to hit 60. Right, so definitely the arrows. I'm gonna have Chris work on that. Adding arrows to color change beam base and automatically indicate direction of gravity, because the problem is if you start moving these things around and turning, they're going to be oriented differently, so having it automatically indicate direction is really important. So we'll save this. So anyway, it is 9:54. I think that is it for the stream today. It's mostly housekeeping, cleaning up this level. We're gonna be working more on the tree generator. Hopefully next week we'll have some water stuff to show you guys. Everything is pretty much, it's starting to get done. It's still really messy, but we're kind of nailing down bugs, cleaning up everything, figuring out the best way to organize stuff. Then we're gonna get back into optimization in August, which is soon. I'm also going to have David come on and he'll talk a bit more about optimization and what we're doing on that end. This room can actually go, I think. This is, yeah, I'm gonna get rid of this room in the meantime. Oh, these are the activated buttons. I also need to talk to Chris. What's the, what's with the yellow, what's up with the green balls in the doors? Mechanics. Alright, see ya, La Travis. Mechanics I'm trying to give are insanely complicated, but make you feel good when you complete these things. At the same time, giving you a story to tear at your emotions, creating a rift in your feelings, a tearjerker. Wow. Yeah, I mean, that sounds ambitious and tricky. Not saying that it's not possible. I just, you know, well, I mean, my game's like very far removed from that, so I'd love to keep us posted on how that goes. Yeah, basically this entire thing. We also need to work on this. This is a lot simpler compared to other things because it's actually a very isolated mechanic. But yeah, man, things are finally coming together. Game development, it's hard. As you can see, even I guess my mechanics are pretty complex. I was gonna say even with this simple mechanic, like my game, it gets pretty tedious, difficult, but I wouldn't say it's simple. So anyway, you guys all have a good night, and I will see you all tomorrow. Yes, tomorrow we got Ian Sundstrom. We'll be talking about Stacks on Stacks on Stacks, game critique. And if you're new and you're enjoying the stream, make sure to follow. And I'll see you guys later.